All right, we're live, man.
Live.
Can't go back out now. How you feeling?
Good. Feeling good.
Feeling good. All right, man. Thank you for making it in for another episode of my Kava Club Podcast. So, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
My name is Feke'ila Tutu'ila. I'm from Oakland, California. I currently reside in Sobrante.
Sobrante.
And I'm 22 years old.
Hey, you had to pause right there. All right, so so how did you grow up, man? How did you grow up?
How did I grow up? I guess starting from the beginning, I grew up in a fairly good neighborhood. I would refer back to this comedian, you know, Dave Chappelle.
Yeah. That's my favorite comedian. Like.
Yeah, he's dope.
Yeah.
I really like him.
Yeah.
But he said something like his parents did good enough to get them in a good neighborhood, but he grew up the poorest in his class.
Yeah.
I always laughed at that, but like it's so when I look back on it, it was always true. But I grew up next to the Oakland Temple, so I was really blessed to be close to the temple.
Yeah.
And so that's where a lot of my values come from. Being part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yep.
And so I grew up in a very strong, that type of faith background. And I grew up next to the temple. It's a fairly good area, so it's not really like the stereotypical, quote unquote Oakland, whatever.
Yeah.
But I grew up around a lot of white people.
Polynesians, yep.
Yeah, Polynesian people, and there's a good amount of colored people as well, but there's a majority Polynesian compared to like my other cousins and stuff who grew up around Oakland as well. But how do I continue with that?
No. It's funny.
Okay.
So you grew up with a lot of Polynesians. Did you ever feel like growing up that you had a hard time identifying yourself as a Tongan? Because that's one of the experiences, and that because I have a lot of cousins that they grew up with a lot of Polynesians, right? So they have a hard time trying to figure out how to be like Tongan enough because they grew more with the Polynesian side, and then so that when they go spend time with a lot of Tongans, like they have this like misidentity, like they try to identify themselves. Okay, I want to be Tongan, but they don't know how to be Tongan because they grew up with Polynesians. So did you ever experience that growing up, where you grew up more Polynesians that you had this need to like prove to people that you were Tongan or something?
Man, actually, I had a lot of conversations with people like that.
Yeah.
But I would say it was kind of like 70%, 30%. Because I was really lucky. I grew up on like nice white people.
Yeah.
And so there were times, I'm not gonna lie, there were times where I kind of felt like that, but most of the time I was embraced about being colored and about being, different. Because it was only me and my sister and like two of my neighbors, we were Polynesian.
Yeah.
And so we go to school, we were different, but at the same time we were good. The environment there was already cultivated where, where different cultures and stereotypes were kind of embraced.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of blessed in that nature. But there were times, I'm not gonna lie, where I felt kind of excluded because I didn't know what was going on. I remember this one funny time where like I wasn't used to small portions when I went to like little parties, birthday parties.
Yeah.
Because that Tongan party, they thought that. I remember I went to like one of my best friends' elementary's party. And like they just gave me like one scoop of ice cream, and I was really upset. Like, come on. But I didn't really. I mean, it was just differences in growing up. It wasn't really like, oh, you're Tongan. I were to say, but I don't know. I felt kind of blessed, But at the same time, the word, but I can't really remember off the top of my head right now.
Yeah. But what about like? Did you have an issue with when you hang around with other polys? Or was it were you balanced it out? Because that's the thing I hear a lot from Tongans that grew up in Polynesians.
Yeah.
That when they start hanging out with like straight Tongans, straight polys, it's like they don't know, like it's hard for them.
Yeah.
Because they're used to talking like the Polynesian way.
Yeah.
Like their vocabulary is different. The way you talk is different. So sometimes when you go talk Polynesian style to from Tongans. Yeah. They're like looking at you like, this one of the Polynesian right here, but they don't know that's just your normal way of talking because you grew up with white people.
Yeah.
Did you ever experience that? Or?
I experienced that a lot actually. Like, so elementary to like middle school, half of middle school, it was kind of like that. But I don't know. I was like, I don't want to look at things too, but like I don't know. I always look at like the good thing, like my older siblings.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to have older siblings where they did grow up around that type of environment.
Yeah.
And so, before we moved to that house next to the temple, my family they lived in like the 50s or.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just towards the inner Oakland, East Oakland.
Yep.
And so they grew up around that type of environment. So I would go to school, but at the same time I would always be home and I would be that or go around with my older brother and be around that type of environment. So I would say I was really well balanced and like kind of adapting to both sides. I don't know if the term code switching, like I would do a lot of that.
Yeah.
And so I would go to Rome, do as the Romans do, like go into this group, do as that group do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't say I didn't have too much of a hard time.
Yeah, yeah.
In the beginning, kind of, because it was different.
Yeah.
I spent a majority of time at school, but I didn't know how to speak English at first when I went to school.
Yeah.
So, but when growing up, I adapted to that, and then I don't know. I guess I would just say I was good at adapting to both groups.
Yeah.
Growing up, like towards middle school to high school, but elementary to middle school, kind of, but not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because like
I'm sorry, am I taking too long to answer?
No, bro, we got hella time. No, it's good. It's funny because like I think I've experienced that too because like good thing about me, I grew up in Tonga, so like I grew up in Tonga the Tongan way, and then when I came here, I went to school with Palangis. I went to school in Texas.
Yeah.
So I grew up like in high school like straight Palangis. And of course I kind of embraced the culture because plus I wanted to learn how to speak and be American. So I like kind of embraced the white culture, trying to learn. I used to like learn listening to like country music in Texas, right? And then something. Then sometimes then when after high school, when I finally came back
over here.
Yeah, I finally came to Cali, and then over here in Cali is hell polys.
Yeah.
So I realized like. In high school, my identity kind of changed of who I was and what I liked. So I kind of adopted more of like American character or type of person as far as my identity. So I wasn't like straight hard. Because when I first came from Tonga, I was straight hardcore fob.
I'm not gonna. Okay, alright. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So I was straight hardcore. I was like a hardcore fob. So like, I was more comfortable with just being around other Tongans. But then when I went through high school and then hanging out straight Balangis, I changed. Yeah. And then I kind of liked more Balangi stuff. Yeah. And that's just how I was. And then when I came back after high school here and started hanging out more Tongans, I was like, it's I know it's like I was like, I'm not really into that stuff no more. And then, but I did it like you said, I code switched. So I knew how to just go back to my father from my But then when I hang on Balangis, I knew how to switch. But then over time I realized like I don't have it takes too much energy. Just
it does.
Code switching. So I just found a medium where I could just be myself. Like I'm just gonna be who I was. So even if I'm Tongan, if I'm not Tongan, I'll talk about what I like. Even though they may be doing something that's like watching. Liking country music and all that time. It's like, hey, you like
watching certain TV shows.
Watch certain TV shows on white shows. Like, hey, you watch that type of like drama, K-dramas and stuff. I'm now comfortable just being myself. I'm not code switching no more. But in my past, I used to do that. So, like, did you?
What you were saying about like coming from like this to like Tongan to Tongan. I think in middle school is where I kind of was introduced to more like hanging out with color because elementary was straight like hanging out with all my white friends. Going to play dates, doing play dates. It was pretty lit because every summer I went up to Great America. All paid because their parents were lawyers.
White people, I love them, man.
Man, I love white people.
I love white people, bro.
And but in middle school, I started hanging out more with Uli, Cambodian. Yeah, that was my friend group, Mexicans and stuff. Yeah, and then when I went to high school, it was more polys. Yeah, because I'm no longer in the area where I grew up in my house with that type of people. And I went to high school. I started hanging out with more of the Tongans. Yeah. And so that actually, when you say that, I kind of it reminded me of like when I first got there. It was different for me because they're talking about different stuff. Yeah. But now that I know what you're talking about, like they talk about different stuff, and I'm like, I'm sorry, my memory's bad, but like I do remember the feeling of like.
You can't relate to it.
I can't vibe with you.
Exactly, right? Exactly.
But throughout the years in high school, I did. I kind of molded into them. But I would some time to time, because I played for a football team and there wasn't as many Polynesian boys with me my age. There's mostly girls.
Yeah.
And if there were boys, they did play football. But so I had also a diverse group of friends because I played for a sports team.
Yeah.
And so I would go back and forth. But when I first got to high school, I wanted to be accepted.
Yeah, of course, that's what we all do.
It's high freshman, like,
yeah. So we switch it up. Yeah.
So I went to the polys, immediately, because those are my older cousins that look up to them.
It's easier to to go with people look like you. Yeah.
And it's the same thing with my other friends too. I came from middle school. My best friend was Cambodian. He went to the Cambodians.
Yeah.
And my other best friend, he went to the Uli. So it's like, I don't know why it's like that. Now that I think about that, like,
I feel
why
like
it's growing up like that. Like, you go. I feel like I understand, like, you feel more kind of comfortable, but I don't know. You build that relationship, and although the good vibes are still there when you see each other, but just like, I don't know. Now that I think about that, like, damn, we could have just still hung out.
I feel like in high school there's just so much pressure to fit in, and then and we're not, I guess, the maturity yet just to be ourselves.
Right.
When you're younger, Yeah. But so back then there's just so much pressure, so it's easier just to be with your people.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be like talked about or people say stuff about it. Just so it's easier. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
Because I could have done this. I look back now, man, I could have just be myself, man, and be with everybody.
Man, my fault. I didn't really get it. Man, now that we're talking about it, I'm just remembering all this stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I feel that. Yeah. But yeah.
That's good. So growing up, like, what do you feel like is the hardest thing that for you growing up, as you look back?
I think the hardest thing that I battled growing up was just poverty, growing up poor, like, because we lived in that type of area. My parents, they come from Tongan, they had big aspirations, and I think about this daily, like how my dad, he always reminds me every day, every week too. I think it's the same way every kid who has immigrant parents.
Yeah.
Like how he how me Tonga, no finger, and we came to this area, nice area next to the temple. But because we lived there, the prices are high. Yeah. And so there'd be like hella days where we had no food or no light at the house, and so those are some things that I didn't really. Wow, I'm actually sharing this right now. But I think it's the hardest thing I faced growing up there. Like, was just trying to live in that area, but also battle poverty. Like, I would go to school with the same clothes.
Yeah.
And I felt bullied because they're like, "Hey, Feke, you were in the same clothes last year," because they grew up over there, they have money.
Yeah.
And so they have new clothes every year, and I think that's the hardest. That was a hard time for me, like, looking back personally. Like, all those wear tight clothes or the same clothes every day, because I respect my dad because he wanted us in the area. He wanted us in a good area.
Yeah.
But there was some cons to that.
Yeah.
I couldn't really keep up, or seem like, for me at the time, like, keep up with the appearances of, like, being with my friends who had this, had that, PlayStations and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that was the hardest. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just now we're talking because I don't really talk about this.
No, it's good.
So I'm like remembering.
I think that makes it better, makes it more real. So, seeing that so going through that struggle, how did that mold you? Because I know one thing I know about struggle, it changes the way you see things.
Yeah.
It changes the perspective. You things you didn't appreciate, like things people take for granted. You haven't, you don't take it for granted, because that's what struggle does for all of us. I feel like it creates a strength that most people don't develop only through struggle. So, one of the things that you feel like, because you went through that, that created this version of Feke.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about that?
I think the thing that I was mostly, like, strongly taught in my house when those times did come was just our reliance on God.
Yeah.
So that molded me, like, heavily, because every time those struggles did come, we're always on our knees, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying not to get emotional, cause but man, that molded me so much to rely on God and helped me become the person I am today, because I had those struggles.
Yeah.
And going out without food or without the light, or like having hot water, it kind of just, you know, makes you realize what's most important.
Yeah.
And that's just God, the loving your family, and trying to make yourself better, you know, chasing after your goals, and providing for the next generation, you know, making it better for them.
Yeah.
And that's something my dad always tells me is like, whenever we have family evening, like my older brother, he'd be like, I want you to be better than me. And he looks at my older brother, I want you to be better than him. And I'm the youngest boy.
Yeah.
And you fake it, I want you to be better than him. So he's trying, you know, he wants that just to progress, to be better, to make use of them coming here to America.
Yeah.
And that's something I always think about is, what am I going to do today to make use of, you know, the sacrifice, you know. But yeah, I think, just to answer your question, just to reemphasize, the thing that molded me, is that your that was just my reliance on God throughout those struggles.
Yeah.
Just at a young age, just seeing just how much prayer and faith played in our lives, it really helped me become that type of person where I'm looking to God all the time. And you know, I still have my struggles, but that's definitely something that's pushing me. I've seen miracles and stuff like that.
Dang.
But yeah.
Yeah, sure, and I know a lot of Mormon girls are watching this like this. They're like, oh, that man.
Hey, man, it's real. It's real.
That's my man right there. Oh, I got you, dogs.
That's hilarious.
No, so yeah, so you know, because one thing sometimes this is my experience, so I want to share that with you. But I don't know if you've gone through this. You know, of course, you know my parents are Tongan immigrants too.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a struggle too, and when you see your parents go through a struggle, you know, it pushes you that you want to do better. And that's for me. I feel this need for me. I gotta do this. I gotta, you know. Personally, I feel like I have to be the one to take my family at the struggle.
Yeah.
And I in the beginning of my life, I felt like it was a burden because my parents were always saying the same thing. Like my parents wanted me to be a doctor.
Right.
So you know, my nickname is Sonny. So Sonny, autokita. My dad has diabetes, so it's like you're gonna heal me. You're gonna cure me. All right. So and of course, when I see my family go through the struggle, like I've always had this, like, man, I can't just sit around, like, you know, I'm not. So I didn't have the typical lifestyle where like Americans were like, you know, when you're younger, you just every summer you go have fun and do this. Like I grew up my whole life just working.
Yeah.
So there was like, I mean, we had some fun here and there, but there is no vacation. When I hear kids talking about, man, my family's going on vacation, I was like, vacation? Like, I never had a vacation. So do you ever feel like sometimes, like, I mean, hey, do your parents put a lot of expectations on you to be successful in life? Or do you just feel that, or do you have a natural need to be successful because you watched your parents go through the struggle? And like, what is your experience on that?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's both. You know, I want to be I want to be a person. You know, I want to be successful. I have goals, aspirations. I want to reach the type of person I want to be. But yeah, I think, but also, you know, combined with that is, you know, my parents, and like I mentioned before, that's something that they instilled in us growing up was, you know, trying to make use of coming to America.
Yeah.
But you know, look, man, I'm sorry. It just keeps buzzing me out because you talking to me and I'm like remembering all this.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, but yeah, but I think the struggle. Can I talk about that?
Yeah. To talk about
I think one thing that was difficult trying to like become that person is just trying to navigate, you know, the system because of first generation.
Yeah.
You know? Because it's pretty spectacular with like when you think about it, like they came here, don't know how to speak English, but they're like making money, they got a house, and like me,
it's crazy, right?
Yeah,
you ever think about that? I think about it all the time.
Yeah, I'm like, man, props to them. And then
whenever, sorry everybody, but whenever I feel like making excuses,
you think about
I think about that. Yeah. That shit motivates me.
Yeah.
So whenever I think about making excuses, I'm like, dude, my parents came here, no papers, no English, nothing.
Make it happen.
You know, and just came to a whole new country and figured out how to make a life. So why am I here making excuses? I gotta go out and get things happen. That's why I see it. So go ahead.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like they came and they just hustled, man. They wanted that better life. They wanted the American dream. And that's something I try to do every day. I try to make use of that. You know, growing up, you know, my vision was very narrow.
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, I'm going to NFL. I'm going to make millions.
Me too.
But it's bigger than that, man. There's so many opportunities to make a living out here. And, you know, it's America.
Yeah.
Just doing, like, where I'm at now, you know, I'm just trying to find a career for me that's steady, that I can, you know, that I can help my family in some sense. But, you know, to be honest, my parents, they don't, at this point, you know, they say, don't worry about us, you know. Although I do worry about them, but you go focus on your life. Because, you know, we're blessed to have, you know, my oldest. It's because I'm youngest. I know sometimes I think I'm a little spoiled, but you know, we're in a certain situation where, you know, they have that type of attitude, but it's not really where you gotta take us out. But it's the building blocks of my older siblings. You know, they probably had it more growing up. Yeah. But because, you know, I'm the youngest, you know. The times change, things progress, and they're at a point where it's like, you go find your life type stuff. And, you know, I want to make use of that. Like you said, you think about that when you try to give up. You think about them, you think about the hustle. That's what I think about every day. And so I try to make use of that. I try to make use of my time. You know, not try to play too many video games or, you know, be on social media, but I try to get after it. I try to do my job, you know, get good grades and things like that. Try to make it to the next level, but also trying to figure out how to navigate the system, you know. Yeah. You know, get certain help from the government type stuff, or, you know, ask for help from the counselors and stuff like that. But yeah. Did that answer your question?
No, yeah, that's good. Yeah. So, so obviously you want to be successful. Yeah. Right. So, do you find it hard? I think for me it's like my experience. I think one of the challenges as being a Polynesian, right, is especially when you have immigrant parents. You know, of course they expect us to be good. Like they want us to like have a better life and create a good life, be successful. Yeah. But for my own personal experience, the hardest thing about that is like they give us an expectation, but then they don't kind of give you a specific.
Can you
What is it?
I kind of blanked out like the.
Oh no. So growing up with Polynesians, so when you grow up with immigrant parents, you know they always want you to be successful. Yeah. They want you to live a great life, to do better than them, right? Yeah. But my experience is the hardest thing about that is they give you the expectation, but they oftentimes they don't give us like a plan, a direction of how to do it. So we're left to figure that on our own, and that could be challenging. Yeah. When you're trying to I see my parents go through the struggle. I gotta do good for my fam. I want to live a great life. But then you have to figure it out. Yeah. Right. There's no like some some other families where they have a plan. Hey, okay, somebody even Balani kids, my Balani friends. Yeah, their parents have a specific plan for their life. Okay, you go to college, you do this. This is your career. Like everything's already set forth, and then all they gotta do is execute. So true. Right. But Polys are Tongan parents, immigrant parents. We don't have that. Just like
go do it.
Go do it. Figure it out. What's the good life? Right, go do it, right? So I think that's challenging. I think that's one of the hardest things for me was like, I feel this not only like this burden. I really want to be successful. I really want to I didn't come to America just to be mediocre. Like I want to be to change the generation with my family. Yeah. But so it took me a lot of time trying to figure things out, and just failure and success, testing stuff. Try this, didn't work out. Try this, didn't work out. But now I'm finally figuring out what I really want to do for my life, and now I'm kind of like narrowing it down now, and just tunnel vision, not just trying to do what I gotta do. But do you ever feel that sometimes where, like you said, you're trying to navigate, but you're navigating like a big ocean?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, should you talk about that?
Yeah. You worded it better than me. Yeah. But they tell you to get after it, but like I don't know how to get after it. Right. Yeah, so true. Like going to my friend's house, they have stuff on the wall like do this.
Yeah.
But man, my parents are working all the time.
Yeah.
Like being an immigrant, like they're trying to provide, and like I'm just at home all the time, like what the heck. But that's so true. Man, I'm not wording it so like too good, but yeah, I definitely felt that burden of like wanting to be successful from my parents and for myself, but not knowing how to.
Yeah.
And I think, and that just said, wow, that's another thing that kind of, was just the fear of just failing.
Yeah. And
that created just a lot of self-doubt and insecurity because, I tried and I failed and I don't know how to get back up. In the world. And I'm still learning how to do that now.
Yeah. But
definitely when I first started, like I said, like all I wanted to do was, I'm gonna go play football. I'm gonna get a scholarship. I'm gonna go to the like the vision was so narrow, but that's the only route I saw just from looking at other people outside.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know there was different things you could do.
Yeah.
And so, I did feel that burden, and that's how I felt it was. I just felt alone.
Yeah.
I did have siblings, they helped me out, and it must have been harder for them, the eldest one and the others, but for me and my sister were close in age. We did feel that type of way, but there was also some guidance in between. But yeah.
Still, so have you figured out the answer now, or are you still searching right now?
Yeah, I mean, I have a grasp on it now on how to navigate, how to seek help, how to get help, and how to make plans and execute with, going to school. Or what are you asking about?
No, it's like have you have you figured out how to navigate now?
Mm-hmm.
Is there now? Do you have a game plan and set forth between what you want to do now?
Most definitely.
Yeah. What do you want to do now for your life?
So I don't have
a specific.
Specific.
But what's your passion? Like, what's the area?
Like I wanna help people. Okay. That's about I don't know how to yet. Right now I'm a referral agent for insurance.
Oh, okay.
So I'm kind of helping people, but like I want to help people like on a big, like how you're doing.
Yeah.
But I'm not talented like this where I got the camera and stuff.
Bro, there's no talent. This is just.
But like in a different way. That's my passion, but I don't know how to do that yet. But I do know that there's a set, parts of careers you set, take education, get licensed and stuff like that. But I don't know yet what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, since you mentioned, I want to finish it up with for our first break. But instead of you just talk about the talented.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, there's no.
Bro, you good, right? Yeah. I'm not gonna be a lot I forgot when I first followed you on Instagram last year.
Yeah.
Your first video of motivational Sunday. I'm like, oh shit, what is this guy? And then I looked on your page, you have a lunch. I'm like, dang, this guy's dope, bro. I like this. I like what he's doing. I respect the grind and respect what he's doing. But
no, that's just bro. I'm telling you, I know it's funny. I hear that a lot, right? Sometimes people hit me up because I know that some people follow me and then, thank you for your inspiration, and they always talk about that you must be natural for you. And then I tell them, look, this is just repetition right here. If you would have saw me when I first came, when I first came from Tonga, my English was terrible. So I think that's why it built me to like I said, I've always wanted to help people, but I couldn't figure out why because trying to navigate it. But then after I grew up a little bit older, I realized what I really wanted to do was public speaking and just motivating people to do better. But I realized that in order to do that, I had to learn how to speak.
Yeah.
So I had to practice. I had to practice hours. I just practice in the mirror by myself over and over and over before I even had the confidence to pull my first video. If you
now you got 90 videos?
Over 100 But I'm telling you, if you have the time, but if you go back to see my very first video, I go back to it sometimes and just laugh. It was terrible.
Wait, how was your English at the time?
No, it was alright, but it's just it's you can tell I was nervous, timid. But my delivery wasn't on cue. But this, I just want to just put it out there we can do anything.
It took me off guard though too, to be honest, because I know not too many people doing that.
Yeah.
That are Polynesians, that are popping up on my feed.
I know, but it was a whole journey, and it just over time when you do it over, you just learn, figure out how to get better.
That's cool.
It's just hard work, man. Hard work. All right, pause. All right, so growing up, Go ahead.
Can I use your bathroom?
Okay.
Can I use your bathroom?
All right. Let's keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. So I want to talk about cultural, the cultural expectations and within our culture. So like, did you ever? So growing up, did you ever have feel? Did you like? How was it as far as expectations for growing up? Because I know sometimes it's probably like I guess based on my own interviews with poly, it's like there's expectations for guys, there's expectations for girls, and then every family has their own level of expectations. Some people have high expectations. And then it depends on your family. So what was your experience growing up? Like, was there a lot of pressure for you to
be a certain somebody?
To be successful or the one thing I hear a lot from a lot of polys is like to be perfect. Mm-hmm. Like we have, in my own experience too, sometimes our poly parents, like they want us like just don't make mistakes because as Polynesians, the children it's like how it's a reflection of the reputation of how your parents are. So if you do bad things and people your parents didn't do a good job. So I know so there's a lot of things tied to this. If you just want to put it out there. So like, how was your expectations growing up in your life?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is the expectation, to get it, to be successful. But one thing that was always pushed was to just go to college. Yeah, that's something that they always wanted us to do as growing up. Yeah, they set the expectation to go to college because I think the idea of college equals success. Yeah. Meaning a good career, but looking around, it's not always the path or I think the success, but that's always the expectation. And grades were kind of a big, even though some of us weren't good students in the house, but that's the biggest expectation I could think of. But parents really didn't expect much of us to be a certain type of way, but just to be good, go to church and go to school. That was kind of like the two things I could think of right now was, listen, be obedient, be a good person, go to church and go to school. I think those were just expectations that were set for us in my house and me personally, is to be that.
What was like the expectation that had the most priority to your parents? That sometimes there's certain things like parents like they have the expectation and if you don't do it then like
they get upset.
They get upset like that. But every family is different. So what was that for you?
I think it would just have to be going to church.
Going to church. You don't go to church.
Go to church.
Die.
But I think that was the biggest one. Yeah. Was similar to college, going to church equals good life. Yeah. And I think that's another thing that they were upset if we were like booking Lloyd on Sunday, similar to other houses as well. But I used to do that sometimes. But that was something that kind of made them upset, or if you didn't iron your shirt. Yeah. Why aren't you serving sacrament? Yeah. And so that was actually kind of the biggest. That's still the biggest now. Yeah. But go to church. Go to church equals good life, happy life.
Did all your siblings go to college?
No. It's just right now. It's just me, and my eldest.
Your eldest sister. Yeah. So not too many of us reached the expectation, but there wasn't too much of a bad repercussion because of it. Yeah. And I love my parents for that. They're really accepting and. There's a lot of arguments, like just like every other houses about that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, my parents still love us, just like whatever. I don't want to generalize everybody. I don't know. No.
But, yeah.
So, how many years have you been in college now?
So I'm in junior college, and it's my second year.
Second year. So, because I remember before, like you mentioned, like everybody's different. Sometimes you can be successful no matter what you do.
Oh, sorry. Second.
No, so I know you mentioned before that you can be, you can be successful no matter what you do. You can be successful going to college, or you can be successful not going to college and figure it out. This is America. Yeah. So, sometimes I talk to a lot of people like to go to college, and maybe the first 2 years, are like you realize, okay, this is either for me or not for me. What's your feeling upon that?
I hate school.
Yeah, because that was the thing for me when I went to college. I mean, I for just to give you a little backstory. I went to college. I earned a football scholarship.
Nice.
To go play at a D1 school in Virginia.
Nice.
I did one AA, and then but that was my dream, right? NFL.
Yeah.
NFL. I was gonna make NFL. And then I realized when I went to school, it was like like reading books and studying. That wasn't really my thing.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't really interested in going to class.
Yeah.
But I was interested in learning, but not reading textbooks. So
Yeah.
I realized early on that I'm probably not gonna be. Like I told you I was gonna. My parents wanted me to be a doctor.
Yeah.
I realized like I'm probably not gonna be a doctor.
That was cool.
Yeah, because like I was like, man, you gotta do a lot of reading and studying. So I'm not gonna make it.
That's true.
So I realized like that was like my first 2 years in, and yeah. So I realized like, that's when I knew like school. I'm gonna try my best to finish. I ended up dropping out my last year. Because like I'll share it with you. You know, when I realized that my NFL hopes was probably like diminishing my last year, and I was like, that's kind of put me like mentally, my mental health was like, man, I was kind of depressed. So I didn't really finish strong that year, and then I just kind of ended up dropping out. But then but when I dropped out, I was confident because I realized like school wasn't for me.
Right.
So I was still confident when I was leaving that I'm gonna make it happen because I knew like I wasn't gonna go on that path. Wasn't something I was excited about.
Yeah.
I was more excited going to the real world and figuring out creating my own career and destiny. But that's my personal opinion. So, like, what about for you? So you've been in school for like the first year, almost a year, 2 years now. Like, how do you see it? Have you got to a point where you realize like, okay, this is something for me, or maybe you want to go entertain something else, or you're still trying to figure that out right now?
Yeah. Wow, that's kind of where I'm at right now in my life. You know, realizing those things is school for me, or should I just go to life and figure out find a career, find a job, find a career. But you know, at this point, what keeps me going is trying to get something out of me going to practice every day in high school, middle school. You know, and that's the thing that kind of keeps me going because I hate school.
Shoot, tell me about it.
I'm like a B+. I'm okay with it, but it's just like so much. It's so time consuming, and you know the thought of like, am I gonna use this?
I think about that all the time. I think about like in high school, like algebra and geometry. Hypotenuse.
Yeah, man.
Like all these things that all the hours we spent, right? That's the thing. Man, what if we actually spent those hours in doing things that we actually like doing? You know, how would our life be different now? Not only for us, but for a lot of kids. But I think about that all the time, right?
Yeah. I think the thing that keeps me in school is just I want to get something out of it. I want to accomplish. I feel like in my mind, I don't know if it's reality that I have a lot of time.
Yeah.
To like do certain things with my life to, reach a certain point of financial stability or take care of my future family or my family right now. But I do want to accomplish that. If I do graduate college, if I do go a 4-year, I'll be the first one to finish college, and so I kind of want that. It's just like a pride thing within me to try to do that. And I understand there's different outlets and different paths to success and trying to make something out of your life, but I think for now, like what you're saying and how I'm answering is, I'm in that point where I'm kind of just like, trying to figure it out. But as for now, I'm sticking solid and staying in school and, getting a degree. That will be useful for me. But at the same time, I do, I don't know the word, but, working around, I'm just still keeping one foot in where like entrepreneurship. Yeah. I'm part of that type of team right now with my job, and but yeah.
And you're with the referral, right?
Referral agency, yeah.
Yeah. Which agency is that one?
It's called PFA.
PFA.
Yeah, it has to do with life insurance.
Is it PHP?
Yeah.
Is it PFA or PHP?
PFA, but I've heard PHP before.
You heard that one?
Yeah.
Is that the same company?
It's sort of like an MLM.
What's that?
Like where so they're not like advertising to sell. They go through people like me to sell.
So you still work under the same umbrella as far as a company?
Yeah, lightweight. I'm still new, so I'm still learning. So I don't really know like all the specifics, but I know that they go through us to sell them.
No, I got some cousins and aunties to do that. And they asked me to join their team.
Yeah, it's sort of like a pyramid scheme, but I hate that because I'm not trying to get scammed either. But you do make money. Oh yeah, I think a lot of Polynesians.
Yeah, have you ever heard of Patrick Pitt David?
No, I haven't.
Okay, yeah, well, yeah, he's like the king of insurance, and he's one of my first. He's one of the favorite people I like to follow when it comes to content. A lot of entrepreneurship content and motivation. If you're in that business, you should definitely look him up because like.
What's his name?
Patrick Bet.
Patrick Bet.
B-E-T.
Can I write his name down?
Okay? Yeah.
What do you mean he's like the head of that type of industry?
So he's as far as like social media influencer, he's the top life insurance social media influencer online. He's the most popular. He owns the PHP. He's the one that owns the PHP agency. So Patrick Bet, B-E-T, David. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've been following him for years. The thing is, I didn't even know he was in life insurance until like the last year. I've been following him for like 5 years now, but then it wasn't until like last year, 2 years ago, I realized what he was doing. But his content is really, really good.
Okay. Sure.
All right, right now. So you're trying to figure out your degree. So let's take a step back and think about before college, right? So going through high school, right? So what are the things like that you in high school, like, is allowed to talk to? Like, did you go through any phases in high school where it was really important, like as far as like your growth?
What do you mean?
Like did you go through any
that helped me?
Yeah.
Man, there is, but I kind of don't want to share it.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah, it's all good.
I'll probably just name it as like a struggle.
Yeah.
I think what is it called? Yeah, there's a certain struggle in my home, and I don't know. They helped me grow, like help me mature. You know, in combination with like trying to become better and live up to the expectation, and with not having enough money, but it helped me grow in a sense of having an understanding of how people are different in their lives, and there's not really like a certain point you need to reach to say that you did this. But yeah.
Okay. So growing up as a Tongan man in America, what do you feel like is the hardest thing growing up Tongan? Because I know our culture has
I just had this conversation with somebody.
Yeah, our culture has so much expectations, standards, traditions, and which is I'm a proud Tongan, so I feel like there's a lot of things we do as Tongan that's good, but there's also a lot of things I feel like that kind of hinders, kind of holds us back as far as our growth. So I want to get your perspective and your experience of like, what's the hardest thing of being a Tongan and trying to grow up Tongan within the culture, but what are the things that holds us back in your experience?
Can you give me an example of like from you?
One example I hear a lot. Yeah. The expectation to give, right?
Oh yeah.
So growing up, we're taught as kids, give, right? Which I love. I mean, that's a great value, but I feel like there's parameters of how you should do it. Like, you should always take care of yourself first. Right. Because I've done this to myself also, and also I have family members too, where they give everything they have, but then they have nothing left for themselves, and then they go home broken and broke. Yeah. And but then of course they smile, act like they're happy, they're doing well, but so I feel like that can be a lot of pressure too. Yeah. To keep giving, keep helping, especially with all the family functions, the church functions that we have to provide for the koloa. That takes a lot of money. Yeah. The lipaanga. We have to give money for the church. Yeah. And then I just seen it too many times where people just give, and then they had nothing for their kids. and then the kids are hungry.
Right.
But they're rather please everyone, so they don't know
community.
So they're not talked about.
Yeah.
Because they know what to loud But so that's one of the things I hear.
Yeah.
But that's a cultural thing that we have to get no matter what. But that's an example. So in your life, growing up as a Tongan man, why do you feel like it's the hardest thing being Tongan to you? And try to grow and live your best life.
Shucks. No, I think it's just being Tongan, man. Dang, I didn't really realize it until we're talking about that. Like,
there's so many. I have a ton, but there's so many. That's just one of them.
Man, there were certain instances where, like, man, I don't know how to say it. Like, where they said, like, I wasn't Tongan enough, or because I didn't do certain things, or I dressed a certain way.
Okay, so let's talk about that. We take it slow. We got time. We got time, man. We got time, man. We got time.
Okay. What's the biggest expectation?
No, just like you said, for you. I mean, you grew up your own life. You know what it is. You know the things that you went through and the Tongan ways that we expected to be because we're Tongan.
Yeah.
But you realize that, man, that's not something that's helping me. That's actually kind of making me more, hindering my growth.
Yeah.
Because that's how a Tongan man should act or a Tongan woman should be. But you realize that that's not who you are.
Right. Man, I don't know, to be honest. I don't know how to answer that question.
Yeah. You have anything that comes to mind?
Man, I do, but I don't. Like.
Well, you just shared something.
Yeah. Like
you weren't Tongan enough.
I wasn't Tongan.
So let's talk about that. Well, where did you get that from? Because something must have happened for you to feel that way.
It's just I remember it happening, but I don't can't specify. You know. So
oh yeah.
Man, my memory's so blurred, but I think.
How did that come by? Like, what created that?
It's because I grew up around blind kids, and they dress a certain way. I tried to dress that certain way.
Yeah.
And so the expectation was for me to not dress like hood, but not wear skinny jeans.
Oh, so you're a skinny jeans type of guy?
I was for 2 months. Man,
it's good if you are, bro. Hey, no judgment here. If you like skinny jeans, it's all good, bro. No,
you're kind of tight.
I mean, I have some skinny jeans.
No, but
for certain situations, but I'll wear it because that's how to fit.
Uh-huh.
There's some it that you wear. It only goes.
There's a lot of fashion.
So the certain fits that only goes good with skinny jeans. So I'm not ashamed to say I wear skinny jeans.
No, I'm just thinking of that one moment, in middle school, elementary, But when I got older, it wasn't really too hard for me, But they're trying to meet the expectation of going to yate. My dad didn't take me to yate. He only took my older brother.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really meet that expectation of know how to do linishima.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. He'll just make me drive over and clean up. But I don't really know how to do the job.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Oh yeah, I could say that. I could say I didn't really meet the expectation of knowing how to do landscaping or stuff like that. But I don't know. I feel like that's not really. It's important. It's a great knowledge to have. To build your house if you have a house one day.
Yeah.
I think that's something I didn't. Oh yeah, like I said, I didn't really live up to that type of Tongan because a lot of Tongans are known for yate, going hard labor. I'm accustomed to hard labor, but I don't know how to do things.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I've done yate a couple times.
Yeah.
But not to the point where I became became masterful. Yeah.
There's some handful of my peers. They're really good at it at my age. They can koiwi and do the sima and do the things like that. But that's not really my forte.
Yeah.
Or something I grew up around a lot, but they did, and so I didn't meet that expectation where they did.
Yeah. I remember for me when I started doing yate, right, and then I was like, man. I mean, it's hard work, for me, I was like, I remember my grandma always tell me, there's two ways you can make a living, through your hands or through your mind.
Yeah.
And I remember that she always told me that.
Yeah.
So you have to pick which one you want. So when I went out there one time, I was like, nah, I'm gonna grandma was like, grandma, I think I'm gonna make a living using my brain.
That's so true. Hey, that's the main purpose my dad wanted to take me to, go work, was because he already took my older brother. He felt like he was getting accustomed to that because he stopped him halfway too, so he didn't take me no more either. But yeah, I think, that's another just expectation he set for me, was to just go to school and not do that hard labor. I mean, don't get twisted, I get down.
Yeah. That's the judgment that comes because I didn't want to do out there, right? A lot of people thought, he's just soft, he's my mouth.
I can get that.
I was like, well, I can work hard if I wanted to, but like this, I'm finding the smarter way. I'm trying to find the smarter way. To work hard. What's that success term? Don't work hard, work smarter. Don't work harder, work smarter. So that's what I got my thing. Now I'm gonna go to college and figure out a way.
Yeah.
But I remember that listening growing up, they always call me Feke'ila Tutu'ila because I wasn't excited. Some of my cousins hella happy jumping in, going to truck. I was like, no, me. I'll go if you want me.
I'll down.
If you tell me, if you command me, if you give me the option. If you tell me, hey, you have to go, I'll go. But if you gotta say, hey, if you're making me if it's optional, I'm not gonna go.
That's kind of funny. Like you said, because I wouldn't meet the expectation. If the option was given to me, because I was so I want to be that type. I want to be the Tongan guy. I would just go because hey, I want to prove myself.
Yeah.
But now, I have broad vision. There's a lot of things you could do. But yeah. I still yesterday I went to Yete.
Yeah.
So, I think nowadays it's gotten better.
Yeah.
Sort of the culture environment of the Tongans.
Yeah.
Whereas growing up, it was kind of closed, not to talk about certain things.
I know.
What, man, you're doing, you're helping the community a lot, doing this. You're kind of opening it up to the families and stuff.
Yeah. I remember, one of the things I always heard if you don't go out there, they always see Lalo get out there. I'm not even looking down. I'm not looking down. I'm just I just want something. I just want to do something else, and put my efforts into something that I want to do.
Right.
But that was remember those days.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about more about you as far as not the struggles, but let's talk about some happy memories, some good stuff.
Okay.
So what what are the things? What are your passions? What are the things that excite you? Your hobbies, your things, your talents. Let's talk more about that. Trying to figure out
in what way?
What are things? What are your passions in life? What do you like to do? Do you have any talents that you do that you want to share? Some?
I think I have a passion for helping people. I like seeing people happy. Similar to a lot of people. And so I'm those type of people. But I think my mentions. I like sports a lot.
Sports.
I wake up every morning. I turn on the ESPN First Take.
Yeah.
I just listen to whatever's going on in the sports verse.
Steven Smith and Mexican. Which show do you like to watch?
Stephen A. Smith.
Kellerman. Yep.
So right now the news is Antonio Brown. So those are my certain passions and stuff like that. Just sports and making sure everybody's happy. I haven't found a way to how to do that, but one day I have hope that I'm gonna be able. But I guess for now, for aspirations. Are you talking about? What are you talking about?
No, it's not about the things you like to do.
I like going outside. I like hanging out. Right now, ever since quarantine started, I bought a PlayStation, so I can be inside and talk with friends.
Yeah.
And so, I try not to game, where it's just something to take up my time. But I'm looking at it it's 2020. That's how we socialize now. Yeah. So I like to play games. I like to go to church. I like to hang out with friends. I'm sorry. Am I? Yeah.
No, you're good, bro.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Alright, something like that. So, have you ever wanted to do something, and then you stopped doing it, or you weren't comfortable doing it because it wasn't what everybody else was doing as far as Tongans or Polys?
Yeah.
Like, do you have any experiences that you want to share?
Well, I gotta think more, to be honest. Like, I was doing something.
Yeah, like you wanted to dance or do this or watch a show with a certain show.
Yeah.
Sing or something, but again, it wasn't really the most popular Tongan thing to do.
Man, I don't know. I just felt so like. I think music.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't, because I don't want to keep referring. Like I go up around, but I like listening to a lot of alternative music and rock music. But I also had cousins that did the same thing, so I kind of felt comfortable. But when I did hang around with certain people that did listen to that music, I felt I'm not gonna listen to that. But
you just kept it on a single basis.
Yeah, different CD. The CD for that one. But, I think just trying to keep my interest aligned with what was expected of me, versus of who I really was. But yeah, man, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. No, that's not. So I know you mentioned. I know you did mention you like to help people.
Mm-hmm.
All right. One thing I do know you're a leader at your church, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're the man.
The man.
The man. Are you the eldest quorum president?
Uh-huh.
All right. So you're the man.
Yeah.
So. I've known you just because I met you through the YSA, through camp and the activities we had, and it's just talking about you and it's you're getting to know your personality, and you say you like to help people, so I can tell that just based on my observation, people gravitate towards you, right? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you don't notice it because that's just who your natural person are, but I can just tell like you're a leader. Not only within yourself but your life, but then I just see people. I don't know if you notice that.
What do you mean, like?
When you're a natural when you're a natural leader, people just follow you.
Okay.
All right. But now I get it. Just learning from about you a little bit more. Like you like to help people because usually people that like to help people, they're more natural born leaders. That's what leaders do. Like they just want to help people, and by default, they just become a leader within their own community.
Yeah.
All right. So. I'm sure that you help a lot of people, right? Not only with your friends, your family, your community, your church.
Yeah.
So as far as this is make it easier for everybody. So for Polynesians, right? So I'm sure you help a lot of Polys within your friends and your circle.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Hopefully they're helping.
See, that's why I like the humbleness. See, I like the humble right there. All right, that's my man right there. But what do you see? So. What is your observation of what a lot of people go through as polys? Because you get first-hand experience when you help people, and a lot of times you see what people are going through. And I'm sure your whole life you've been doing this your whole life, and I'm sure you've seen a lot.
Yeah.
So, what are the top things you want to say? The top things that you see that what a lot of Polynesians go through in their life and what they struggle with, and if you want to share that based on your own. Experience helping people.
Right. Like you said, I have that calling in the church, and so I have the opportunity, or I have a greater opportunity to
connect with people,
be able to help people.
Yep.
And so, from my perspective, looking in through that lens, I think the main problem that people are struggling with is just, depression, man. Like, although they don't name it. And it's becoming more.
It's a taboo thing in our culture. We don't talk about it.
Yeah, but that's how time is progressing. It's becoming more, known. But although they don't say it, it just looks like they cut themselves off. They don't talk to nobody. They don't respond to texts. Or, I would say, from my perspective, that's what people struggle with the most. And I think the solution to that, from my experience, is just being there, being a friend, and. Can I talk about like some of the stuff I went through?
Yeah.
So like as an elders quorum president, so one of my weaknesses, I think, when you get a calling, it's because the Lord wants you to strengthen something within yourself or something like that.
Yeah.
But I would say like I'm a kind of a close person, so I don't really like to. I like to help people, but like it's hard for me to open up and become one-on-one with people. So that allowed me to do that with certain people.
Because you're an introvert.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. You like you like being by yourself.
Yeah, like I love being by myself.
Yeah,
and so,
I'm the same way.
Yeah. And so that kind of challenged me to do that.
Yeah.
And so when I was doing that, it helped me realize that people are hella struggling.
Yeah.
And it made me feel for others more, and made me emphasize what I need to do, and increase what I need to do to help other people. And so yeah, I think just to answer the question, it's just being sad, man. Like I don't know, it's either what they're going through or their actions, but it's just being sad. Like I don't know, I could say it's depression, but I don't know. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, no. So let's talk about. Let's go deeper into that, because I do know that depression, which ties into mental health, it's prevalent. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't talk about it.
Yeah.
So let's just kind of have a little discussion about that. So why do you feel like polys struggle with depression?
I think just from the outside looking in, even with my personal personal experiences, meeting like what we're just talking about, meeting expectation.
Yeah.
When we fail, it sucks.
Yeah.
And we get down on ourselves, and that's also an indication of how much we care, how much we want to do that, but also an indication of it could be unhealthy, like you know what I mean? But I think that's the main reason why, because we set a lot of goals for ourselves, a lot of aspirations, and sometimes we don't meet them, and there's expectations set by other people,
family,
our community, family, and we don't meet them, and it's disheartening for you've been through, of course, and so it's just a matter of trying to get back on your feet, having the right people around you. But I think that's the main reason why people are depressed, is because meeting expectations.
Do you feel like I want to throw something out there to you? Do you feel like sometimes the reason why, this is part of my experience too, the reason why there's a lot of depression, because we talked about with bilingual people, they have a set specific plan for their kids, right? Mm-hmm. So they break it down for them. This is how it's going to work out, good and bad.
Yeah.
I know as polys we talk about a lot of expectations, so we talk about success, but we don't really talk about failure.
Mm-hmm.
So we never talk about, our parents will be like, always be, hey, I'll become a doctor.
Yeah.
But there's no conversation, what happens if I don't become, that conversation never happens. It's like, be a doctor, whatever. So because we don't talk about failure, because we don't talk about imperfection, flaws, we have this natural, the only thing we aim for is perfection. Mm-hmm. And then of course life is never going to work out. That's life. Yeah. Things will fall apart, things won't work out. And because we're not prepared for that.
Yeah.
Within our
mentally,
own.
Yeah. Sorry.
So when we face that, we don't know what to do.
Right.
And the only thing we know how to do is just close ourselves off,
right,
and be depressed.
Yeah.
So what are your ideas on that? Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, most definitely. I think you saying that, it was set in how we were talking about before, like going to the NFL. Like it was set in my brother, because my dad used to talk to my dad and my brother like that, and unfortunately he didn't make it, due to certain things, and that was sort of instilled in me, and so what. But not because we live in such a world where it's like you can do it. Yeah. It's like it opened my mind more, but you're totally right, man. Like or at least from my experience, the platform was a set of what if you don't make it.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't know how to deal with it, and so, but just grateful for the progressing of time and knowledge that that for my family, I can. There's it's all good, just make sure you're good, make sure you have a career for yourself. It's not really just reach this point or nothing.
Yeah.
All or nothing.
That's how it is sometimes.
Yeah, that's how it is, yeah. But and I think that's why a lot of people get down on themselves. And that has to do with church too. If you smoke, you're done.
Yeah.
You drink, you're done.
Yeah.
It's not really
no save for you.
Although it is church, you can be forgiven.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't know. It's not really prevalent in people's minds where they can be forgiven.
Yeah.
I just feel like people just close themselves off and make them themselves feel like they're bad people. They didn't make it or they didn't meet the expectations. So yeah, that kind of just ruins the situation for them, for myself too.
Yeah. Yeah, and you also add in what do you call it? adding gossip, right? So like
gossip.
Yeah. And being made fun of. Like nobody wants to be talked about. To add on that. So depression. Okay, so depression. Do you all do? I know we talked about this earlier off camera about having a safe place. Do you feel like sometimes the reason why, because a lot of these polys are defiantly silent, like you would never know. I know a lot of people right now, they're going through depression, but you would never know.
Yeah.
All right. Everything looks happy from the outside.
Right.
So
this sucks.
I know it's kind of sad when I think about it. That makes me more like to say. That makes me want to reach out to people more. Do you feel like? Why do you feel like? Because one of the things I hear a lot from polys is they don't feel comfortable enough, or they don't feel like there's a safe place, not only within their family but within the community, to be open about your struggles, to be open to let people know. Oh, I did fail, or because people just don't want. We just don't want to be talked about within everybody. Yeah. So, do you feel like do you feel like that's a thing? Like, why? How come our culture is? How come there's not a safe place within our culture to talk about this? Like, what do you think?
I think it's because of judgment.
Judgment, yeah.
You gotta. There's a certain person you gotta be,
yeah.
And if you don't be it, it's like we said, kind of sucks, and people don't want to face that type of, judgment or consequences. Like if you do talk about it, but I think for right now, or do you think it's saying like I kind of personally feel like a lot of people are sharing more compared to before.
But it's not a lot.
Yeah.
It's not a it's like a small step, but not like a major step.
I can't really speak for other people but I think for myself, like I feel comfortable in my home.
Yeah.
Not totally,
yeah,
but
yeah.
But I feel comfortable enough where I can just share with them like how I'm feeling, and but I ran into a situation like sit like stop being low BC or silly or something.
Yeah.
But
I know
yeah, but I do have like opinion on it, but like I do, yeah.
What's that opinion?
Like I don't know, this is like being tough versus being merciful or not merciful. I don't about being compassionate. You know what I mean? Or I don't know.
Do you feel like do you feel like being more understanding?
Because when I look at like OGs and stuff, like it kind of like how we're so like into like mental awareness. Like I wonder like what they felt. Did they have depression? Like did they know about it? Like I don't know.
But they did.
Yeah.
But they. So it's funny. I was thinking about that like a long time ago. I was like, man, I was like you see my parents hardcore, but I think it's just they've been conditioned to keep it in.
Right.
Their whole life they've been like when you've been conditioned to think a certain way, that becomes like your belief in your identity. So like our parents, they like everybody goes through depression. Doesn't matter who it is.
That's true.
Because our parents has been like drilled at a young age that you don't show weakness.
Yeah.
So they just don't. They're like, and they're now they just that's who they are. They're just not gonna show any weakness no matter what. We're different because now we grew up with the environment that it's okay to express yourself.
Right.
So that's why we're kind of different from our parents. Because I know a lot of older OGs they're going through depression too, but they'll rather suffer than ask for help or go see a psychiatrist or something.
And at the same time, it's like it's very admirable, but like it's kind of unhealthy too. But
it is unhealthy.
Yeah.
No, it is unhealthy. Like you need if you need help, you gotta ask for help.
Right.
And but that's something I just see that it's just the OGs they feel uncomfortable, and plus they weren't educated about it. So I think somebody talked about this in my last interview. I forgot who it was. The reason why our parents don't feel comfortable talking about it because it's not a topic that they
were accustomed to.
Yeah, they're never accustomed to. So they don't.
So how are they going to talk?
So they don't even know what the answer to give you.
Right.
So even if you came to them, hey mom, like I'm going through depression, and like they don't know what to say because like they never had that conversation with their own parents. So for me, I wouldn't know what to say. If I had kids one day, they my kid, hey man, I'm going through something. I know what to say to them. I sit them down, let's talk about it, and I give them some self-love, inspiration, and some love, because I've learned how to deal with it. But our parents never got that information. So if you go to your parents like, hey dad, go be depressed, the only thing they know, loud piss. And I mean, even though that might seem harsh to a lot of kids, but that's the only way they've been taught. So they're just showing you like how their parents taught them to deal with it. So they don't know any other way, but they can still learn.
Right.
We can teach our parents. Do you think about that? Do you think that's a true statement?
Yeah, I've seen it in my life, with my parents. We've talked about that. Because it's come up in church, in my ward, and stuff like that. So that they're more educated, and we're not all perfect in trying to how to like solve the problem or something, but at least the first step is knowing. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like knowing what it is, and I think the second step is like learning how to deal with it. But
because for the longest time I thought like, within my own church and ward, like we talk about mental health, right? But then I just observe like the OGs, right? Some of them are like they want to talk about it, but you see most of them are like they just have this nervous. And like uncomfortable feeling.
Right. Probably because it's like new,
And you can tell they don't want to talk about it, but because the leader talking about it, we have to talk about it. But then I used to think, man, they're just heartless. But then I realized, oh damn, like they just don't know. Like, they don't know. It's a topic that they've never been comfortable talking about, and plus they don't have the answer. They're scared talking about it.
Right.
So when you don't know about anything, just like when you go to when the teacher asks you a question, you have no idea.
Right.
You just sit there and like. Next question. So that for me. So besides depression, is there like what are the other things that you see? People struggle with that you help.
I think just trying to find a job, or trying to find a place for yourself in the world.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, from my experience, struggle with that, like trying to know what to do with your life. Like we're all young, or at least I'm in the YSA. I'm in that, and so everybody's trying to figure out like what to do, and it's kind of menacing. The world. It's you against the world. You have people around you, but in the end, it's all you. You're gonna make so much of. Someone's not gonna come sign a application for you at school or for a job or something. It's all on you, and so I think a lot of people struggle with that too. Only a couple people I've seen personally, but like it could be a lot more. Finding your place in the world. I think that's a possible potential problem people face is trying to be somebody, trying to find your place in the world.
Okay, all right. So let's talk about being Mormon. All right. Talk about this.
Yes. Great.
Because you are the man. You're the man. The man, the myth, the legend. So so talk about let's talk about what are the things that the hardest thing of being Mormon, because I know most of the people I interview are Mormons, right?
Yeah.
So I already talked about one of the hardest thing is the judgment from people. Like you just said it, like if you drink, it's over.
It's over.
All right. So me being Mormon, I know there's a lot of expectation.
Yeah.
And sometimes some people can feel that pressure, right? Because like you have to be spiritually perfect in a sense.
Yeah.
Right. But so in your experience of being Mormon, being a millennial, living in America. Trying to live a normal American life, and do your thing, and still be able to, be a Mormon in practice.
Yeah.
What's your experience with that? Because I know that can be tough, especially from Oakland.
I had a lot of hardship with that growing up.
Yeah.
I think in terms of politics, do you remember Proposition 8? We're here.
Yeah, was that the same-sex
marriage?
Yeah.
And so, we're not against gay people. I have gay people. I have gay friends.
I just did.
It's just the act, but it's just the difference of the doctrine of acting on that type of stuff. But going with that, it's just a event came in mind. I want to hang out with my friend in like 4th grade or however old I was when that was happening, and I don't remember why, but a lot of members in their area, maybe it was encouraged by the church members, but to put the sign in front of your house like, yes, I'm Prop 8, to push that proposition and
go against
yeah. And so my friend dropped me off with his parent, with his dad, and his dad was like, "Is that your sign right there?" And I was like, "Yeah." Well, I didn't really take anything of it, and I said, "Yeah." And so he kind of looked at me like this, and then just looked away, and I just got out the car.
Yeah.
And so the next day when I went to school, like a lot of the kids knew, like, "Hey, like, are you Mormon? Are you Yes on Prop 8?" Because all of them, I live in like that area where it's like
it's more progressive,
liberal,
more liberal, yeah.
And so I just felt a lot of hate, and I said no, like at the beginning, and I felt kind of bad because I said that, but because I was a member of the church and had that sign, it kind of interfered with my social life, or so I thought when I was younger, and I felt really bad for being a member of the church, just growing up in that type of environment, because I was looked down upon because the majority was going against what I believed.
Yeah.
And so I faced a lot of hardship in that, like trying to fit in, being a member of the church. A lot of my friends, drink and smoke.
Yeah.
But I didn't. And so I faced that typical hardship. Like, no, it's alright. I faced that typical, like, well, you want, like, but yeah, I think that's the, man, there's so much. But it's just trying to be that person, like people expect you to be a party animal, like be fun. And members of the church, we're not really categorized as fun. Like, you seem boring. Like, you're not gonna get lit.
He's Mormon.
He's boring.
Yeah.
But I think that's it had the most effect on my social life growing up is for being a member of the church was. The biggest effect it had was on my social life.
Yeah. And then that's when you say, "I'm not boring yet."
You gotta see me in action.
Wait till midnight.
Is it Sunday yet?
No, so like so. What do you? So what Because I know you have a lot of friends. So I'm sure you have a lot of friends.
Oh, sure.
That are Mormon and they smoke and drink, right?
Yeah.
So like what do you hear? Like, do you ever? Because I have a lot of friends that smoke and drink, and then, and I was a convert, so I used to live that life.
Yeah.
Right. So that was one of my. I remember being baptized. That was one of like my main concerns, right? Like, okay, shoot. A lot of people know that I used to do this, and I was just kind of like thinking about what people say.
Yeah.
But then I decided, okay, I gotta change my life around because that was kind of affecting my growth. But I know I have a lot of friends within the church that they do smoke and drink, and then they feel like what you said, it's over for them.
Yeah.
Right. So like
you kind of categorize in that group.
Yeah, you got a group like you're that you're that type of way and. You're no longer considered worthy anymore.
It kind of sucks,
It sucks, right? Yeah. So like, what do you tell your friends that do that, and then like, how do you encourage them, help them out spiritually?
First of all, you show the same energy, man.
Yeah.
Like you don't be fake. Like, whoa, you smoke. I think the first thing for me personally, I just show the same energy. Like if you're my guy, you're my guy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And then, but. I think that's the first step. You just accept them. Everybody has their weaknesses.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing to understand is everybody's not perfect. And so just to answer your question, like if that, I do have friends like that, but I don't judge them.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
I just let it be known because we're both just because we're speaking about church, there's blessings in store. So I make it known that not like directly, like, hey, if you don't do that, you don't get blessings.
Yeah.
But like, I just try to be the example,
Yeah.
They're gonna. There's gonna be a time where they do it or do not, but it's all on them. You know, I can't be like a I don't know what the word's like. I can't be a sucky person just because they
like just judgmental.
Yeah, I can't be judgmental.
Yeah,
that's them. You know, I'm your friend because you're you, not because you what you do or something like that. But yeah. Like, I don't know how else that's like. I don't know.
No, that's true. That's like the thing for me is just like I always have this like empathetic. Like I've always come like for empathy. Like whenever I hear people like talk about people because they live in a certain way, yeah. I'm like, bro, we've all been there. Like maybe it's not. We all have things we've done that we're not proud of. Right. So like nobody's perfect. That's what because like for me I don't never judge anybody because I have so many flaws by myself. Mm-hmm. So like that's just the way I see it. And I feel like if do you feel like sometimes we don't. I want to ask you this. Do you feel like sometimes like the Mormon Church? We talked about earlier how like our parents don't talk about failure as much as they talk about success. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like sometimes like that's why I feel like because I remember we had like a ward elders quorum meeting. We had an elders quorum meeting in my ward, and then that was the topic. We were talking about how come a lot of the youth are not coming back to church. Mm-hmm. They realized I think they ran the numbers since when as soon as they become teenagers they just don't come back. Right. And they asked me. And then everybody when I listen to the OGs, their solution. We should have more activities. We should have do this. We should be more. What do you call it? Counseling. What's it? Is it when you visit people?
Oh, what? Visiting them?
What is it? What's that word?
Oh, like ministering.
Ministry. There you go. It's the ministering. And then they asked me. I was like, I feel like I told them, if we create an environment where we not as much perfection, mm-hmm. but talk more about
striving or
to talk about what you said. Yeah. Well, to talk about like it's okay to make mistakes, uh-huh. and we can make that like if we have a fundamental focus on that. Yeah. Hey, if you have a fundamental focus on that, talk about that, and make that more in our meetings, uh-huh. especially the youth. Yeah. Telling them, hey, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to fail. It's okay to if you fall to the other side. I'm not saying don't say it's okay to do it, but don't stay there. Yeah. There's always a better life if you live in the path that God wants you to live. Right. But as human beings, that's gonna happen. Right. I feel like because we don't talk about that, because we go to church, it's all about striving towards Jesus Christ to be Him and to be mm-hmm. perfect, and sometimes that can create an illusion mm-hmm. to kids. Yeah. And to feel like that's what life should be, but then they live life, and then life is totally the opposite of perfect. Yeah. Do you feel like sometimes like that as the church? That's just my opinion. I want to ask you about it because you're the elders quorum person. You're the man. Yeah. Like, do you feel like do you feel like sometimes our church could be too perfect, like too focused on being perfect, oftentimes? Then maybe
from my experience.
For me, I'm just throwing it out there. It's my opinion about it, but I want to ask you your opinion. Yeah. I feel like that's why so many youth and Mormon kids suffer because I just see everybody striving towards perfectionism. Yeah. And then when we talk about their partner, they always talk about I want to find the perfect partner. Like the word perfect is thrown around so much. So I hear it all the time, but I've never hear like a being imperfect. Mm-hmm. Like we never talk about that at all. Right. And what do you think about that?
I think from my experience, like I don't want to seem like it's just from my experience. I grew up in church where it wasn't. They weren't saying like it's okay to. They're just saying like there's a possibility because of Jesus Christ and because of they preach Jesus Christ, and I think that's the main focus that we should be preaching is Jesus Christ, because when you preach Jesus Christ, there's the preaching of perfection and striving, but along with that is the preaching of hope. You know, of the potential possibility of imperfection to one day after this life being perfect. And I do agree with you. There's some times where people, because when you lesson plan, you don't want to make it feel like people are imperfect. Like, how do you prepare for Sunday? Like, some people don't prepare for Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, ask those type of questions, and you have to be aware of that. Like, trying to cater to be the best teacher or somewhat to the people, to the audience. Man, I have so much to say, but I'm just trying to.
Have you ever experienced this? I see this a lot, right? So, like whether it's Testimony Sunday or we're in a lesson, right? And we're teaching a lesson, and then somebody happens to share something in their life they used to do. And say somebody shares something about smoking.
Yeah.
Say something about drinking. It's just always awkward. Right? Like when somebody mentions the word smoking or drinking, everybody just gets so tense off. It's like almost like it's taboo.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know if that's and then for me it's just like I always find that weird. It's like why is everybody so tense and so awkward about it?
Because they
because right, it's like
when I'm going to church, I think it's a blessing for me because I learned how to have more understanding for people, but I have yet to experience that. But I hear a lot of stories, so it's true. It happens.
I forgot you from the Oakland one. The jokes, bro.
Happened to me so everybody. Yeah. I mean,
no, I'm just joking.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's like, I haven't experienced that.
I understand.
But I know it happens because people share it. You know? But I've had to experience that because it's so normal. You know?
Yeah, it's so normal. No, it's just that's why I want to share it. I was like, my words, like, you mentioned that word, like, everybody's like, ooh.
I think it's important to show love, man.
There's a lot of times, like, somebody shared it in my word, and then after when after the session is done, or after the service on Sunday, like, I would go to that person because I know everybody's like, judging. I will go to that person and be like, hey man, like, your testimony, I love you. I'm glad you shared. Give him encouragement. I'm glad you shared that testimony. I'm glad you shared what you said. I felt that too. So just to let them know, like, they're not alone, because I see it a lot.
But yeah, I feel that.
Or you just think about your own word?
Yeah.
Everybody get together.
I forgot. Everybody's okay.
We're all together.
Man, there's some good and bad to it. You feel me? Like, it's good to, like, not judge, but I think that the sole purpose is, like, change. You feel me? Like, change for the better. In terms of, like, the doctrine and stuff like that. But you can be your own person. But yeah, I totally feel you about what you're saying.
Yeah. No, I feel like because I feel like if somebody's gonna change, right, from a lifestyle of drinking and smoking, they have to. I feel like they have to be in an environment where it's encouraged. People encourage them to become a better.
That's totally
right. Because if we, what I notice about people that smoke and drink, I talk to them like, hey man, this is what they say. They always say, what's the point of me trying to change because they're always going to label me as alcoholic. They already see me that way, so what's the point?
Yeah.
Right, so like you said, like, it's not over.
Yeah.
If we can create an environment where people say, you know what, I know I've done it in the past, but I learned from it, and I realized it's kind of affected my life. I want to be better now.
Yeah.
And then we don't care what he did yesterday. Yeah. We just, you want to be better?
It's all good.
Welcome back, man. Like the prodigal son story, when the son came back. Yeah. And then his father just walked into his arms. They didn't even care what he did. They basically blew his money.
Yeah.
He was just glad he came back.
Just glad he came back. Yeah.
And then if we can do that too.
That's the type of attitude.
if we can just be glad that somebody was willing to change. Like, oh, you want to change now? About time, bro. You know, dap him up. I'm glad you're doing that. And then that will inspire people like, oh, okay. Instead of like, oh, why are you changing?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's another thing too. Like, people kind of hate.
People want you to change, but then when you finally change, they criticize you for changing. It's
kind of sucks.
It's stuck, yeah. Like, they criticize you for doing it, but then when you finally want to change,
you can't win anyway.
Then they still criticize you for even trying to change it. Like, and then, yeah, it's like that's kind of gonna be tough. All right.
I like that.
All right. So so let's go a little bit more into. Sorry, I'm usually part of the YSA. All right. Let's talk about relationships and dating. So this is a fun topic.
Yeah.
I know you're the master of this, but so yes, let's talk about that. So like, what's
I'll bust myself out.
You want to pause and do a push-up and then turn it back on? So I just noticed you're kind of buff, man. Since the last time I seen you, since last summer, man, I was kind of buff. No. So what's the toughest thing of being woman and dating?
The toughest thing is like what you said, like finding the perfect guy or guy.
Hey, no problem. Yeah, I thought you said you're just a prop, bro.
Finding a perfect companion, you know. I guess the toughest one because you set yourself up with these requirements, and if they don't meet them, they're completely out. And I think that's the toughest challenge for me. But I think the thing that keeps me going, like in dating in the church, is the saying like you marry potential, not perfection. I think that's something that we need to share more often and have in our mindset better. But yeah, because you know, there's not really like a companion out there that's for you. You know, it's not really like the one.
Yeah.
You choose your choice. I think that's important. But the biggest challenge I've seen is like trying to marry the perfect dude or girl. But yeah.
Did you follow that track when you were trying?
Yeah, when I first got back from my mission, I was like, I set these lists, like, she gotta be this, she gotta be that. And I dated a lot, and I kinda dated with no purpose, but yeah, I did face that, where I kinda wanted her to meet this list. But at the same time, I didn't, but I did. So that kinda narrowed the options, but...
Was it both ways, where you wanted her to be this and she wanted you to be this?
I mean, if it's me, it's a joke. But I'm mostly confident that it was both ways. Went both ways. Like, I think a lot of members of the church or YSA looking for a companion, they carry a list with them. Like, you gotta be worthy. You gotta do this.
Yeah. Was that before you were out of school person, or was that? Was that when you dated didn't work out? Was that before you were out of school person? Was it when you said that you dated and it didn't work out, right?
Oh, it was just like on my part, you know, like I was just looking for the one, you know.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like, she didn't meet this on my picture I wasn't like, she's not there, but that's not really how you look. You know, you date around and you look for the person you could be compatible with, and then you look for those requirements, take it to the Lord, and He'll confirm for you. But yeah, that's sort of like my process.
All right. Yeah. So what do you look for in what do you look for in a potential?
What I'm looking for? Eyes, ears, eyebrows.
The eyes and the ears, huh?
There's the winners right there. Was it a serious question?
Yeah, that's a serious question.
What am I looking for?
What are you looking for? Yeah.
Shoot. Man, that's a hard question. I was looking. I think where we could just share the same values. You know, I value God. You know, I value hard work, family. I think if you meet those and we can vibe, you know. That's
every girl in Polynesian.
Oh yeah, that's fair enough. I don't know. I think with me it's more like energy, man. If I can like chill with you, yeah, and we can crack jokes and talk about certain topics without indicating, you know, where it's political, we argue or something like that. But we can like have understanding. I don't know, I just feel it. When I talk to certain girls, you know, I feel it. Certain girls I don't. And that's kind of how I suss it out.
Yeah.
The process of me dating. But yeah. That's so true. Like, that's every Polynesian girl. God, family.
Yeah. Do you feel like sometimes you're too picky? That's something I always hear from.
Man, I always get that from people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm just, for me personally, I'm not really dating. I don't know what to say. But yeah, I get that a lot. I don't say that. I wouldn't say that about myself. But yeah, because I dated a lot of different types of girls.
So attracting girls, it's not the problem. That's easy.
I mean, that's a plus, man.
Yeah.
If I'm attracted to you. But yeah, that's always a plus.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like so do you feel, because I know you're an out-of-home president, right? Do you feel like do you feel like that, like, because you're out-of-home president, like sometimes you have to more pressure to find a certain type of girl?
I haven't felt that pressure.
You never heard that pressure? No.
But yeah, I have never felt that pressure. Yeah.
Are you open to within the church or out of church? Doesn't matter to you?
That's a hard question. Or not really. It depends, you know. What if I fall in love? You know, I always keep it open, you know. But my preference, you know, is to find inside the church. But you know, you never know. One day I'm at work, you know, we're chopping it up, and yeah.
And things happen.
Yeah, things happen, you know.
Yeah.
It's happened before.
The little Feke'ila comes out.
No.
That was just.
Yeah, it happens.
All right, so now just talk about. I think we pretty much covered everything. So I think we can finish it off with is looking back to the person you are today than to the person you were before, right? Like what are the major differences that you see about who you were used to be and now the person you are today? And if you want to share some of that, the things that the big differences that you know, because I think we talked about before as a kid, like when we were younger, you know, we could be afraid, we can be more insecure, we can we're not willing to be open, and so there's a lot of things we're not as when we were younger, but that we are now.
Yeah.
So just looking back at who you used to be, if you look within yourself, what were the attributes that you had before, and the things you struggle with, but now you learn how to overcome it, and then now you're a totally different person than you are today. And then just talk about that transition, of your transformation as a person, and what's the good things about you today, and all the good things about you today that before you didn't have those things, and what you had to do to overcome it.
I think when I was a younger kid, I was hella quiet. Like I didn't really talk much unless I really knew you.
Yeah.
And so I was really quiet. I stuck to myself a lot, but I was always nice. But there were times where I was too nice, where
explain too nice.
Like I would give my lunch away. Like, what the frick are you doing? Like
we don't even have food.
Yeah. Like, what the heck are you? That's just because I wanted to be liked, you know.
Yeah.
I wanted to be the nice guy, and I think now I've learned the limit of trying to be nice and trying to be smart and stuff like that.
So more comfortable saying no.
Yeah, more comfortable saying no, knowing my limits, and I'm more talkative now. I talk to more people, more outgoing. I'm still kind of quiet, but I've learned it's more important, or not more important, just it's better for your life, in my opinion, from my experience, to talk to more people, to be social. I still have those type of tendencies, but yeah.
Sometimes you feel like sometimes you can be antisocial?
Yeah, I'm antisocial a lot. You know, I keep it close, like keep my circle close type stuff. But yeah, I think the main thing is just with a lot of people too. You know, it's coming of age, just being comfortable with who you are.
Yeah,
I've learned it's that's the biggest change of who I am. Like, I'm not afraid to be who I am.
I feel like that's like probably the top. The one that's probably the hardest things. It takes a whole lifetime for people to figure out.
Right.
Is figuring out who they are, but not only figure out who they are, but also be comfortable who they are, no matter what situation, the environment.
Right.
So like, let's talk about that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, before I used to be like scared to share or to dance, like Michael Jackson. Man.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you can dance too. Ladies, you hear you can dance.
But yeah, I think just being who I really am, being proud of my interests. It could be different from many of my peers or something like that, but I take pride in it. I like certain things, and I'm more understanding and more open to the worldview of people are a certain way and you're not a certain way. It's okay to disagree. But yeah, I'm just more comfortable with who I am. I don't really let the comments of other people affect my behavior in my own life. And so I think that's molded me just to become more comfortable and have some self-pride, also some humility too, and what true humility is and how to be a good person in life. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. Kind of hard time myself.
I was a girl, man. You would be the perfect guy for me, man.
Perfect. Perfection.
No, yeah, I think that's true. Like, finding. I feel like that's something. I feel like that's one of the top things. Struggles when people always ask me like, what are the things polys struggle with, and I feel like a lot of polys just find it really, really hard to just to be like themselves. I've only met a few people in my life that they're polys. They're just like straight themselves. Or if we do become ourselves, it's usually later in our life when we're much older. You rarely meet somebody that in their 20s, in their youth, like we are like that, just unapologetically just be themselves. That's probably one of the top things I noticed about that. So like, how did you do that? How did you overcome that?
Transition.
Yeah, how did you, what did you do to finally, okay, I'm gonna stop listening to what people say, I don't care what people say no more, I'm just gonna be me against the world, I'm cool with that. How did you get to that place?
I think a big one was just, looking up to people around, like one of my main role models, my older brother, just looking how he acted. I kind of wanted to just be like that,
And how did he act?
Like he's just like a chill dude.
Yeah.
He always talked to me about like, you don't gotta care what people think about you, or you just be you. Like if you do this, do you do that? And so that played an important role in my life. Just listening to people, to him especially, and to my parents. But I think a big one is just my older brother. And so maybe a role model, that helped me transition into the person, the man I am today. To be comfortable with who I am and not really caring, but like having your own personal opinion about who you are. Like don't let other comments really affect who you are, but you really have to think about it and be the person you are. But yeah, I think that's the biggest part of my transition was, there's other things like going on my mission, experiencing certain things in high school and stuff like that, but I think it's just having that person that helped me, and I feel blessed because of that, because I have people like that in my life. And so, if you do have that person, cool.
What were certain things that people used to say about you that was like that made you uncomfortable, but that was who you were?
Because I went to church a lot. People call me Square.
Oh, yeah.
And so I didn't really take it. I would just feel like, dang, I'm a square. Like, damn. Or I'm too churchy.
Too churchy.
Fiabalangi, not Fiabalangi, but just like.
Yeah, Fiabalangi.
White, because I live on a house, but like.
That's common.
Yeah. But yeah, those are the comments that kind of affected me growing up.
Yeah.
But not so much anymore.
Yeah, because
I am who I am.
Yeah.
And it's important to be that way because. Only one of you. Only one Will Nakuzi. There's no two Will Nakuzis.
That's true. There's only one Fek'ila, man. There's only everybody.
So you gotta be you.
Oh man, that's right. Square.
Huh?
You say you're a square, huh?
Yeah, man. That's probably the top guy. No, Fek'ila's a square.
You have CD circles, bro.
In my mind, like growing up, like I'm not a square.
I'm a rectangle.
I'm tough. Nah, yeah. I'm probably still a square.
No, that's it. Like, you are who you are.
Yeah.
Nah. It's just funny. I asked that question and you just hear people, but earlier in our life we always get caught. But then at some point in time in our life, you're just like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. I think you start out off with the one whenever you give a talk one day, just like throw that in there.
What? I'm a square.
Because sometimes like you're talking, especially when you have the YSA and then introduce yourself, like you have the icebreaker.
Oh yeah. We did.
And then second, I'm a square.
I'm proud of it.
I'm a square. So.
Thank you. If you're a square too.
If you're a square too. I might want to make a box. I got the wrapper.
Let's do it.
Let's make a gift. Ooh, that was good. Hey, that was good. Let's try it one day. I think I don't want to, because I know your faith is a big part of your life, part of who you are. Can you talk about your mission?
Yeah, talk about my mission.
Yeah, and how talk about that experience, that transformation, and how that changed you. Because I know when you go in there, you're a different person. When you come out of it, you're all a different person.
Man, whenever I talk about my mission, I don't like to say that my mission changed me. It did change, but it upgraded me.
It's a better term. Yeah.
And so it challenged. When I was on my mission, I was in New Zealand, in Auckland, and so I was around more Polynesians. And man, I always tell my boy, like, I didn't like Polynesian girls before, but when I went to New Zealand, I was like,
oof, bro,
hello.
New Zealand's a whole nother level. I don't know what to eat out there. Man. Oh, it's the fish or the?
No, but shoot, I wasn't out there for that. but when I went to New Zealand, it was just it was a really growing stage for me, because you gotta talk to people as a missionary, and I didn't really like to talk to people, and sometimes you gotta talk to people like randomly on the street, walk up to them. It challenged me to be outgoing, be a fun person, not really be fake about it, but really recognize the blessings. It really grew my testimony, because we get to study every day, and it really challenged my faith in terms of like, do I really believe, or is it just something that I grew up around, conditioned in my mind? Yeah. And so it really challenged my faith out there. There was a point in time where it got sort of dark for me, because I was like, man, do I really believe that this is our God?
Yeah.
And fortunately for me, I found it out for myself that there is a God, and there's a true purpose, there's a plan and stuff like that, and it really helped me propel me forward to be try to be a God-fearing man every day, and in terms of like who I am as a person, just be more outgoing, more talkative, and be more understanding with people. And I could talk about my mission like a lot, but I don't know, I guess in just to compact it like that, it helped me grow my faith and my personality.
What was one thing that I don't know, but it's up to you, but what is something that you changed within you that you necessarily didn't have before the mission, and then when you went to the mission, that became part of who you were? Like it could be a quality, attribute that you didn't have before, but you developed that when you went on your mission.
Only one?
Yeah, well, we one. Doesn't whatever you want to say.
Only one?
Oh, you are Feke'ila. One's not enough.
So one attribute that I grew up with.
Yeah, well, it'd be any attribute. You have multiple or one, but like whatever you
one that stuck, that I grew up with and stuck with me.
But that's always the one thing I always hear from a lot of people that go on missions. Yeah. They always share that. Oh yeah, like they didn't have this quality, but then the mission taught them about to learn how to be a specific way that they necessarily didn't have before.
I think it's self-accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're out there by yourself in a different country.
Yeah.
with another teenager.
Yeah.
You could just go have fun.
Yeah.
And but it taught me purpose and accountability, and that's something I took here to home. Is I'm accountable more for my actions than I was before my mission.
Yeah.
You know, this is my life. You know, I gotta take account for it. You know, I can't blame anybody for what happens to me, but in certain situations. But most of the time, it's my life, and I gotta take accountability for it. I gotta get up and do what I need to do to make myself better. And if not, then it's all on me. And but yeah, that's definitely something I nourished on my mission, was self accountability. You know, having a purpose in life, and knowing what your purpose is, and getting after it. But yeah, accountability.
Okay. And then you know, being a missionary and knowing a lot of missionaries, what's one thing you see that a lot of missionaries struggle with? Because I've heard a lot of testimonies of people, you know, people put down in the past, and they share their missionary experience, and then they'll share like different things that they've seen that. Because the one thing they say, like, you know, before you go on a mission, you think it's all gravy, it's all smooth, but then when you go in there, it's like you realize, dang, it's a lot of work, and then sometimes some people are prepared, ready for it, and then some missionaries go there, and then it's something, and they're not ready for it. So what do you, based on your observation of what you see, a lot of missionaries, what's the hardest thing that they experience being a missionary and going to a mission?
Oh, for a mission, like people going to a mission?
Yeah, not for you, but just what you see.
From people who come in the mission?
You know, when you started the mission, you were around a lot of missionaries, and I'm sure you saw a lot of missionaries go through some stuff, struggle on the mission. Yeah. So, what was your experience here? Like, what are certain things
people struggle with?
Yeah, what? Oh. You know, why or what did they struggle with the most being on the mission?
Man, you kind of talked about it before. Like, you kind of prepare and things like that, but like, man, no one really prepared. Like, I think the main thing is don't come with any expectations. Yeah. You know, just come with the expectation to do the work and to be the best you can. That's the only expectation I think you could probably have. Don't expect to come and be a perfect person, be the perfect missionary. You just come and do your best. That's the only type of expectation. Because when certain missionaries come with expectations, they fail, man. The expectations are met, and it kind of falls back into what we were talking about earlier. You know, they fall and they just
you can't handle it.
They can't handle it because you just come with the open mind, but just with the expectation to do your best and to give the Lord your best for however long you're out there. Yeah. But yeah, that was the main thing. Like, people come like that, especially for me. I thought the mission was gonna be perfect, you know, but it wasn't. Yeah, I think it's the expectation.
Was it easy to come when you came back home? Was it easy to transition back?
Oh no, it wasn't easy. I think it wasn't easy. I think my other older brother, he was telling me like, he gave me some good advice. I think it'd be important to share. Is like, you don't come home and transition to home. You come and let home transition to you, because you know, when you're out on your mission, you're supposed to be the exemplary
person,
member.
Yeah.
Living the gospel, and so that's the type of person you want to be your whole life. But of course, it's not really easy. Yeah. But when you come home, you try your best to do that. You don't really conform to what home is doing. Yeah. But you don't try to be like a little but you come home.
Square.
You don't come home and start pointing fingers at other people. Yeah. You come home and you do your best to live the gospel. But I struggled a lot coming home. Yeah. But yeah. Was that your question, right?
Yeah. How many months before you finally
got my groove?
Yeah.
Maybe like first 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah. But yeah, I came back and I was trying to be like a mission, but you can't, you know?
Yeah.
You're at home, you got different responsibilities other than going out and cheering people about the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Okay. Alright. Yeah, man, I think that's pretty much, you shared pretty much it. Did you have anything else you want to share?
No, just right on, man, for having me. It was a new experience.
No, you shared some good stuff, man. It was really, it's fun. This is fun interview.
This is cool.
Yeah, man. People know more about the man. Even though they already know about the man, but now they know more about the man.
So how often do you do this?
Every weekend.
I'm just guessing you have like a little outline of the year. Do you just plug people in?
Yeah, so I already got my, now all the way to the end of I would like to prepare 3 months early.
Yeah.
So kind of now all the way to January.
Yeah,
Because one thing I know about poly, you have to prepare, man.
Yeah.
You know,
I like that a lot.
Because if you don't prepare and be on top of it, you know, polys are like, you know, we'll forget about the interview. It's like,
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't gonna come. But just because you like hit me up, you know, 3 months, like, man, I
know my people, man. I know my people, man. You gotta remind them. Yeah. You gotta constantly remind them, and then based off that, if that's how I do it, I remind them, and then if they keep replying to my reminders, I know they're serious. And then if I remind them, and then they don't respond back, then I respect their space. It's all good. I get to tell that it's probably not the perfect time, right? But because you get.
I just respect the fact that, you know, you hit me up 3 months, you know, not like, 2 weeks before it happened.
Yeah.
I just really respected that. Like, yeah, let's do this. Because I wouldn't want to come to this.
I do really appreciate it. The last thing I always ask people to do in an interview, to share like a little inspiration speech to everybody out there. I mean, you know, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you. Appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy man. You aren't the man, but you're busy. Making moves. But I really do appreciate taking the time out of your day, making time for me to come here, sharing your story. So I really do appreciate that, bottom of my heart. But you know, the whole purpose of this, I know we talked about it earlier, to inspire, help people, especially Polynesians, we're both Tongan, that's going through silent battles, let them know, hey, you know, there's always a better life out there. If you need help. So I really appreciate you sharing the story. You know, it was fun. We had some fun talking about your life. But yeah, I just want to ask you to share one last message. Okay. Everybody out there, if you want to, you know, give them the hero. But yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of things you shared that a lot of people can take away. I'm sure a lot of people can watch this and then something you said in your story that they can relate to and can help them in transition in their own life. Yeah. So yeah, if you just share final words, final message to everybody out there, something that helped you, and then you can get back to them.
As a young man, at the very ripe age of 23, if I could share something with the viewers, I think it would be to, you know, find your purpose, whatever that is. When you find your purpose and work hard every day to fulfill that and to not quit. I think a lot of times we can quit, but it's important to just keep going and find yourself a support system and just go get after it, man. I'm only 23, so I don't really know too much, but I think it's just important to know who you are and to make use of the potential that you have. You know, everybody got potential, so yeah, that's the advice I give to everybody watching. Yeah.
Alright, sounds good. That's it. Any last words?
No.
Alright. Thank you very much. That's a wrap.
Thanks, Will.
That's it.